Hello, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this series of Live with the Animals communications. So this series was really born out of what was happening here in the United States in March of 2020. The coronavirus had made itself really well known. Different states were starting to go into shelter-in-place orders, lockdown, quarantine kind of things. And I just really became curious what the animals thought about all of this, both the inside and the outside animals. And that's how this series really started. And as I've gone forward in the future, there've been a lot more different kinds of animals who've continued to show up, who would like to share their wisdom with us. So I'm continuing to do these for the foreseeable future. And so today our interviewee is a heron. Here, let me pull up this. I hope I'll be able to share this video with you. So I took this video, it was about a year ago, and let's see if it'll work and go. And I just happened to be walking by this creek, and something was like, get your camera out and start taking video. And this heron is totally getting ready to fish. So check it out. Here it goes. So fast, and look, you can see the little fish in his mouth. Oh, totally amazing. Like, I couldn't even believe I managed to catch this on video. It was so amazing. All right, so let's switch over. I didn't have my alarm. Today's just gonna be an off day. Let's just go with that. We'll just say this video is gonna be a little bit off compared to the other ones. All right, so hopefully I can still see your questions. Yes, I've got my Zoom open, I've got Facebook open. So we're just gonna get ready to start tuning into this heron and see what it would like to share with us. If you're joining me live and you have questions, you can type them into the chat, either on Zoom or into the comments on Facebook, and I should be able to ask the heron your questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and get quiet and start tuning into this heron and see what it would like to share with us today. So what it shows me first is this sense of pride. There is a real, like, this heron really enjoys being a heron. And I'm asking it, so I took this picture about a year ago, and I'm asking it if you're still in this particular physical form, are you still as a heron? And he's saying yes. So I wonder if there might be any particular heron wisdom that you want to share with our viewers. It was kind of incredible seeing you catch that fish, and personally, herons have showed up a lot in my life in the last year or so. So I'm curious what kind of things you want us to know about you or your species or other things about the world. There's a certain level of self-confidence that I represent, and that's a big part of what the message that I've been bringing to you in particular, Tracy, is. So it's pointing to its legs. It's showing, like, look how small my legs are and how big in comparison my body is. And there's a sense of like standing on my own 2 feet kind of thing. Like standing on my own 2 feet, I'm able to support the weight of whatever is given to me, it feels like. Is there more to that, I wonder? So now it's pointing to, like, I don't know if it would be, the proper word would be torso, but the main part of its body, not the legs or the head, but the big, like, middle part. And he's showing how, birds, the way they're built, it's there's a lot to do with lightness, so they can fly. So it's relating that to like people who are going through a spiritual process or a spiritual journey, how there's a lot in a spiritual journey about letting the things go that really aren't a part of who you are. And the bird is showing like that's part of the lightness in its torso, like part of what we can tune into as people on a spiritual journey is the lightness. And the bird is saying it's not necessarily particularly about herons, but birds in general. We have this lightness in our bodies that humans don't. That could be really representative of a spiritual journey. Like letting your soul become lighter through this alchemy kind of process. So I feel this density actually kind of come into the space when you say that as well. So I feel the lightness and the density at the same time. Is there more of a message around that at all? So it's showing how these two elements, even though they seem opposite, actually go together. So he's showing like as we let go of those things that aren't part of who we really are, that we do become lighter, but there's also a density that can happen. It's almost like we become more solidly who we really are instead of our energy being all scattered about. It's more like through this refinement process, through your spiritual alchemy process, we're letting those things go so the things that are really who you are can become more cohesive, and there's like a density in people's energy that comes along when that happens. And by density, like that could be saying, it could be interpreted as being a negative thing, but he's showing it more as being solid in who you are. It's almost showing it like a warrior who really knows what he or she is going after, like really fighting for something that's important. There's this kind of focus and density that comes online with that. Yeah, showing how spiritual people, as they shed these layers of themselves that are not their true selves, there is this what's the right word here? Can you show me that again? It's like a cohesiveness of your true essence, is essentially what it's showing. Wow, that's really cool. I certainly know that has felt that way in my own experience. I wonder, sometimes the spiritual journey can feel pretty fraught with danger or peril. It's sometimes not at all what we thought it might be. I wonder if you have any advice for people like that who are finding themselves in really difficult times on their spiritual journey and moving forward. So it's reminding me of the video we just watched where it came in and like got the fish, and there was so much precision involved with that. And one of the things this Heron is suggesting to us, those of us on the spiritual journey, is to bring in this place of precision. The Heron is reminding me of like early in my own spiritual journey, I was kind of, I was taking something from a lot of different places, a lot of different traditions. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but as I progressed along, I became more focused and knew more where to go to get what I want, instead of just listening. There's a lot of people in spiritual communities, spiritual groups, people who call themselves spiritual teachers, who are just blah, 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 just talking a bunch of crap. And there's a way this Heron is showing us by tuning into it, that if we can find more precision in what we're looking for in our spiritual journey, and not just not being satisfied with the blah, blah, blah noise coming from, you know, the million spiritual quote unquote teachers. Do you feel like there's a way we can really, like I hear what you're saying about the precision, but how can we do that? So the Heron's making a suggestion to me personally, saying like I could really, during my meditations, if I would tune into the energy or the archetype of a heron and asking it for help. There's a way of connecting with this. He's really showing it as the archetype, like this higher blueprint, if you will, of a heron, and the energy and the spiritual messages that it carries. It's like, so you could tune into a bird, a heron bird that's in front of you, but it's much bigger than that. It's going up the spectrum, if you will, higher into the higher positioning. So is it really, it sounds almost like questions that I might have about precision, or how can I bring more precision to this, to really just hold that with the energy of the heron. Is that what you're suggesting? Yes, that's definitely a way. It's like people who live around herons too, like, you know, where I live, there are a lot of bodies of water which they are attracted to, showing like people who live around herons could just go sit by the lake and watch them and tune in and have kind of a focus. Like the heron showing it would need to be something quite focused, and it's like if you're going out to look at the heron and to feel their energy, you need to be focused on that. Like don't bring your dog with you if your dog can be distracting, or don't come with your chatty friend who, like, this really needs to be something that you sit and be quiet with. So this heron is showing me, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, I went on a walk and I saw two herons sitting in a tree, like high up in a tree. And like, to me, that's very unusual. I've normally seen them along the banks or along the river or the lake, but not up in a tree. And this heron is reminding me, because, you know, I think we went around, it was around a lake, and we had done like 3 or 4 circles around the lake. And, you know, enough time, this heron was just sitting in the tree completely still for, I mean, at least an hour. And this heron is relating that to how we can use this message of precision. Like it becomes even precision when you're sitting and meditating. The more precision and refinement we can bring, like it's not the faster that your spiritual process is going to go, but it's like it creates a certain level of momentum that when you're just kind of picking from all these different places, it kind of gets spread out and blah, blah, blah. But having that precision. My message is really about precision. Okay, I've probably said the word precision about 100 times so far in this. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna, tune into that and feel that. Take a moment to check for any questions from the audience here. Not seeing any. All right, my heron friend, I wonder if there's anything else that you want to share with us besides your quite potent message about precision. It's also showing me something about other people that we're associating with. Can you expand on that? I mean, what he's showing me is, um, like he's showing himself, and then there are a couple other herons maybe that come along, and he's familiar with. It's almost like they're friends. We don't necessarily travel in a flock. Like there is a fair amount of individuality, like time spent alone in a heron's life. And that's part of the spiritual journey too. Like as more of this fake stuff starts to fall away, it can become like there's a certain level of wanting to spend time with other people who have that kind of level of precision or focus on the things that are important in their lives. There's a lot of people going blah 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 in the world, and there's a sense of like finding your people through this precision, or even when you're with people, being precise about your words and being aware, like, okay, am I the one who's being gossipy today and pushing my own agenda? Yes, there's a lot to do with precision with words too, like choosing your words carefully when speaking to somebody. The heron says, I get really, really tired of the blah, 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 blah that happens. And says, there is some of that in the animal kingdom too, like some animals that are just talking to be talking and hearing themselves. It's a lot. The heron feels like this happens more in the human realm. Like we like to talk, we like to hear ourselves talk. So it's more important with humans to pay attention and listen. Or be careful with how you, so he's saying there's both parts, like precision in listening, like actually listening to people, and precision in what you're saying, like being precise with your words and carrying that way. That feels like some good advice. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that and find myself needing and wanting to be more precise with words with others. So we're coming towards the end of our time together here today, my heron friend. I wonder if there is anything else that you want our viewers to be sure to know about you, or any other pieces of wisdom you want to be sure to share with us. Get really comfortable with who you are. It's reminding me of the sort of pride feeling that it was showing us at the beginning of the session. Like the more you can feel secure about who you are and confident in who you are, the less all this blah, blah, blah stuff around you matters. I really feel like that is the central core message, is getting to know yourself and becoming more precise with knowing yourself, even knowing who you really are, rather than listening to what the blah, blah, blah people around you say who you are. That's part of what allows me to stand so tall. And like if you look at a heron, there's often this kind of proud strut, or the way they hold themselves, like that is available to us as humans. And it's not like there's a higher mode of it, if you will. Like there's plenty of people that abuse their power, but like this is different from that, is what it's saying. Like this isn't about power necessarily. Like this is about being who you are, and that's where the power comes. Yeah, not power in like pushing people around, like forcing people to do things. It's reminded me of this book called Power versus Force. Like when you're forcing somebody to do something versus standing in your power. Like these are two different kinds of strength, two different kinds of power. Yeah, and this is something with precision too. It's saying like becoming aware of how you're using what power you do have. Is there more to that? I feel like there's might be a little bit more there. Yeah, it's showing too how like different people are able to speak up in different ways, and that um, like so much happening in the world today with, especially here in the United States, with racism and Black Lives Matter. This Heron is showing like everybody has the ability to use their voice, but some people, they're just because of their situation in life, a white male maybe is like what they say, if they can say it in a precise way, can help these other people who may be a bit more marginalized or not listened to, or who haven't quite figured out how to stand up in their own power yet. It's really showing like using our voice for good. And it's showing again that precision thing coming, like showing a very precise line coming up through the throat and out, being aware of how we use those words to help others. And there's a lot to do with power here, and standing in your power and what that means, and how standing in your own power can actually empower others. So Tracy, that's your assignment for today. How can standing in your own power actually empower others? It's really beautiful. Well, thank you so much, my Heron friend, for joining us. I've been really looking forward to talking to you, so thank you so much. And thanks to all of you who joined me here. These sessions are so much fun to do. I hope you'll join us again sometime. And until next time, take care.